morning. Thank you for joining Carrie Rios and myself, Amber Tripp, on our very first podcast series for Clark College community and continuing education. We really wanted to celebrate the instructors and kind of get their background stories and why they are such a passion for what they teach. So we can let the community know what we offer and how amazing these classes are and how amazing the instructors are, because they put their time and energy into this. So we wanted to pick their brains and get you to meet them, so you can have a little preview of the class that you're going to sign up and take. So let me have you introduce yourself, Diana, with your name and the class that you teach here at Clark College CCE, if you don't mind.
Not at all. My name is Diana Thewlis, and I'm teaching Watercolor Techniques.
Awesome. And Diana, what inspired you to teach these classes in particular? Because I'm guessing you have a very broad artistic range. So do you?
Yes.
Yes. So why watercolor?
Well, first of all, teaching runs in my blood. It's many of my family members throughout the generations have been teachers. But for me, it's a way to pay forward what I've learned over the years from wonderful mentors and what I've learned through experience. It's a way to honor my mentors. And although I taught at university level for many years, I find I prefer teaching to students who don't have to be in my classes, but are people who want to learn and have fun. And for a bonus, I don't have to grade anybody.
Well, that's a big bonus, I hear, because nobody likes to stay up late grading people. Also, how do you grade on artistic abilities, too? I mean, everybody's different, right?
Absolutely.
So, if they can't hold a paintbrush, just perfectly so, does a man get an F? I mean, I would never envy anybody the job of grading artistic classes.
It's difficult, but we had rubrics we had to follow, evaluation sheets. It's a university, so...
Well, so they gave you rules, you had to follow them.
Sure.
Yeah. I think there's no rules in painting or art. I mean, I should say there's no rules in painting, because I'm sure there are rules in painting.
No. There are guidelines. There are guidelines. I prefer to call them guidelines. Some people call them rules, but I feel that first you learn the rules, the guidelines, you master them, then break them.
Perfect. That's, you know what? A very wise jazz instructor once told me when I was learning how to improv in vocal improv. And she said, you have to know the song completely frontward to backward before you get out of the notes that are there on the page. So I'm guessing similar.
Very much so.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad the arts are still alive there with the guidelines. So were you always interested in art, and particularly watercolors, your whole entire life?
Yes, in one word, but I was lucky. I met an artist who lived in my parents' basement, and he was a fantastic artist. I was 4 when he moved into the basement.
Was it Mr. Miyagi?
No, Edwin Pearson. He was a wonderful artist who freelanced for the government, but I got interested because I was so envious that he could do all these things that I couldn't do. So he sat me down and made me draw something realistically. It took me most of the day. It was hard, but I fell in love. And as to watercolor, there are many different media that I love, but I got hooked on watercolor in college, partly because I became a commercial artist illustrator. And watercolor dries rather quickly, and acrylics weren't really on the horizon, and gouache can crack. So I got interested in watercolor at that time and fell madly in love with it. I'm totally hooked.
Oh, wow. I had no idea. That's not, wow, good. So I have a question for you. This is really off the wall. It's not even in the question sheet. Did you ever paint on a wall when you shouldn't have?
Let me think. I don't believe so, but I painted on some furniture when I shouldn't have.
Oh, well, it was probably the wrong color for that room, right? Maybe
probably.
Yeah.
I painted the floor too, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, watercolor dries fast. Maybe it wasn't watercolor though. Did you?
No, it was oil.
Oh no! You probably get someone a headache for cleaning that up, huh?
No, I had to clean it up.
Oh, yep. You reap what you sow, right?
You learn, my parents gave me some oil painting, paint by numbers thing, and I didn't like staying in a line, so I had other fun.
See, guidelines, right? Guidelines,
Right.
and then you break them. I love that. So who is this class designed for? Who would be like the perfect student if you could get anybody in your class? Like who are the people that enjoy it the most, I guess?
I found that on the whole, every single student is the perfect student, because they come to these classes because they really want to learn.
Yeah.
And they love art, and they have an open mind, most of them, and they have a lot of creative energy. And so Watercolor Techniques is designed for the person who really wants to learn more about the medium, how to use it, and also learn more about composition and color, because I emphasize those things as well.
Oh, good. Like mixing colors or
Oh, yes.
color wheel or
Everything. Mixing colors, yes. Watercolor is a little different from other media because it has properties that other media do not have.
like water?
Granulation, flocculation, staining, lifting.
Oh, okay.
So
Wow,
it
I
has-
had no idea. So when I picture watercolor in my head, I picture like the 6 set water, like the with the paintbrush that you get as a kid.
Oh, sure.
And you add water, and that's what I think of watercoloring. So watercolor. So I'm sure I'm like not even close to all the things you can do. I would have no clue that I probably should take it.
No, actually, when people plein air paint, they go outside to paint a scene
Yeah.
or some buildings outdoors. They often take what you're describing, a simple pan set of watercolors with a brush, even something a kid has. And they just go outside. It's easy. It's portable. Yep, there it is. I have
Like
a
my
couple of
daughters.
those. Yeah, that'll work. You can't get as much color up. You have to work a little harder at it, but it's great for traveling. Get a little tiny sketchbook, a watercolor sketchbook, and you're set to go. Little container for water.
So I'm curious, on like a set like this is way off topic. Well, it's on topic, but it's way off my question. On a set like this, how do you maximize the colors? Do you just use less water? Or
Well,
I
you mean
always
how
feel
you
like-
get the colors more toward their
Yeah,
saturated
'cause
state?
I mean,
Yeah, well,
yeah, it looks
Beginning-
like a watery mess.
beginning people have a tendency to mix too much water in with the color. And so they get these pale colors, they're disappointed, and they have to keep adding more and more glazes. And, they just need to learn to be gutsy and use less water.
Yeah, because you know what happens with me, and I'm sure this is a beginner thing. I'll add the paint, too much water probably, and they'll keep adding it, and then I end up poking a hole through the paper. It's a big mess.
Oops. You need better
Too much
paper.
water. Also better paper.
Better paper.
Possibly so.
You want at least 300 gram or 140 pound paper at least.
Yeah, probably the wrong paper. There's so many things I need to learn about it. I'm way at the beginning level. Well, as you can tell, I don't even.
It's
I
for
use
fun.
acrylics.
Oh, acrylics. I love acrylics. I paint in acrylics too.
Oh, good. Yeah, I do like some. I've been doing like the where you put the paint in the cup and let it.
Oh, pouring.
Okay. The pouring. Yeah, that's fun. It's very unpredictable.
is.
And
It's messy and it makes you feel like you're still a little kid sitting in a mud pile,
Yeah, and then I look
making
down.
mud castles.
And then I look down. I go, wait, I did something because it's a mess. So Diana, tell me this. Tell me 1 or 2 things that people considering this class should know, or just one.
Okay, this is a little difficult. I'm not quite sure what you're after, but this is a mixed class. There are some people who are beginners and some people who are intermediate to even advanced. So I'm going to be juggling.
Okay.
But whatever level you're at, even if you're a professional, you can walk into any class, sit down and learn something if you have an open mind.
Okay.
It may not be what you thought you were going to learn, but you will learn something. And also the other thing is that not every aspect of this medium can be taught in one term. I covered some things last term, or rather the spring term. I'll cover some other things based on what students said they were interested in.
Sure.
And next term, it'll be something different.
That's awesome. So the best master is always the perpetual student, right? That's what they say.
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
That goes down to your last question. Why would someone like me take this class?
Yeah, well, I know why I would take the class, because I know nothing about watercolors except for my little six-pack in the drawer of my daughter's desk. But what about somebody who's kind of on the fence? They're like, oh, I just don't know if this is a good idea. Why? What's the draw besides you as the instructor? You're very easy to talk to, by the way.
Well, thank you. I think the draw is not just the learning, but being in a room with other people who are learning. There's a creative energy that is generated, and it infects everybody. Everybody feels jazzed, you know. I do too. I go home and I want to paint more. That's basically it. And, you know, as I said, there's always something new to learn. But for me, I occasionally take classes. I've been, you know, an artist all my life, but I occasionally take classes because there's always something new to learn. It's fun. It's fun to be in a room with all these people who are generating all this energy, and you look at what people are doing and it gives you ideas. Sure. And also for me as an instructor, going into another class and sitting there, and I don't want to make others instructors nervous, but I like to observe other people's teaching methods because it adds something to mine.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I can get on board with that. That's awesome. And did you know, well, for all of you who don't know, Diana Thewlis is a little bit famous because she's on the cover of our catalog. In studio. She had a studio in spring. How'd that go for you, by the way? A little studio set up with a Zoom and all that.
It went very well. It went well. I was a little technologically challenged, and my IT kept changing things to make it better. So every time I came in, I had to learn over again. But he was great. He was great. I'm not criticizing him. He worked at it and made it much, much easier.
Awesome. And so now we're out of Zoom, I think, and back in person, if I am hearing that right.
Yes.
Is that a breath of fresh air for you?
Yes, it is. It's a breath of plain air, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it's nice to be back in a classroom. Well, we did quite a lot via Zoom, and I think we were pretty successful. But I find an in-class learning environment to just be a little more conducive to that creative energy. Sure. So I'm looking forward to it. We all have to be vaccinated. We all have to wear our masks. Yep. We have to social distance. But I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to seeing the artistic creativity that comes out of your class.
So am I.
Yeah.
Can I post it somewhere for you?
Yes, I would love to see it. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, if we can get that, I'm all over it. Yes.
Okay, that's great.
All right, Diana, do you have any other little tidbits you'd like to share? We're going to wrap this up, I think.
I can't think of anything in particular, except that I'm extremely excited. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm interested in meeting some new people and working with some I've met via Zoom. Yeah. And I think we're going to have a great term.
I think so too. Like I said, I can't wait to see what comes out of it. So we're glad that you're back in person. And
hey.
Yes. So Diana, thank you so much for your time. You can sign up for Diana Thewis's class in Watercolor Techniques online at cce.clark.edu. Make sure you click on classes, and hers is under the subcategory, guess what it is? Art. So you can call 360-992-2939 if you want to register that way. Someone will be glad to help you. You'll find the most up-to-date information on the classes, like the wheres, the whens, the costs, the hows, the whys, any information you want on our website. So visit that. And Diana, I want to just thank you one more time so much for being on today and giving us a little taste of you as the instructor and what your class is all about. I'm very excited. I would sign up for it. to get out my little 6-pack and maybe expand it to a 9-pack.
Well, I expect to see you next term in class then.
Challenge accepted.
Thank you very much for having me.
You are so welcome.